So we're going live. I want to talk about this for a moment. This is a news story on Bitcoinist. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me. I'm in an airport here in Cancun, as you can see. Near ready. We're going to be talking about this here in a moment. As you come on, this is kind of crazy to think about. Recent news story about government banning Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about that here in a moment. As you come online, hit that thumbs up. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be getting started. I don't know if I can see you guys talking. Oh, live chat. All messages are visible. Let me do that. All right, here we go. Once you come in, just say hello. Hit that thumbs up. I appreciate it. We got one like already. 17 people on the stream. 18 people on the stream. I'm leaving Cancun, Mexico. Been on vacation here. What's happening? Welcome to. Let's hear about this news story. Did you hear about this news story yet? Getting from Malibu, bro. Greetings from Malibu. Hey, I'm headed back that way. Hi from the UK. Welcome, welcome. So think about this for a moment. I'm just holding it down so it doesn't look weird. I'm in an airport. I'm thinking about U.S. security. I'm just waiting for my. But so think for a moment. I don't know if you all have seen this yet, and this struck me as odd yesterday. So yesterday, I saw on the news where they were talking about banning these e-cigarettes. Now, I have never used an e-cigarette in my life, to my knowledge. However, they're banning it because there's this mysterious disease, and 6 people died last month. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, by that logic, is it appropriate for the government to ban it? Stick with me here for a minute. Stick with me because this is going to be good. Is it appropriate for the government to ban this? Why should the government ban e-cigarettes? You're an adult, maybe announce the risk. Hey, this is a real thing. You know, this is a real risk. People are getting hurt. People are getting sick. People are dying. Think about this. James, think about this. The U.S. government hasn't banned it yet, but there's talk about it. And I'm going to be covering that here in a moment. So you think about this, oh, the government banning e-cigarettes. Yeah, they're trying to right now. They probably will. So, and Tom Lee had something to say about this in the article I read, but I disagree with him on this topic a little bit. But think about this for a moment. So why are they banning it? Because it's a health hazard. Okay. So is driving cars. But they're not going to ban that. I mean, 6 people, you think about that. 6 people died, supposedly. Do you know how, 6 people probably died surfing last month. Do you know how many people probably drowned swimming? It's kind of nuts to think now all of a sudden they're going to ban an entire e-cigarette market. So with that being said, there's a news article you can go read for yourself. Go check out Bitcoinist. So there's a news article right now in Bitcoinist talking about there's some sort of source that claims that there's plans to potentially ban Bitcoin if the price hits 100,000. For the U.S. government to ban Bitcoin for 100,000. Now you think the irony is you're leaving a land where you can do anything you want Bitcoin, i.e. Mexico. You're totally free to do it. They're talking about potentially banning Bitcoin one day. Think about that. So Tom Lee talks about how they're going to wipe out an entire industry simply by banning e-cigarettes, and he talked about, that's exactly what they could do to potentially to Bitcoin. Now, what would happen ultimately is it would absolutely decimate the price, but they wouldn't get rid of Bitcoin. Just like they're not going to get rid of e-cigarettes totally. They weren't able to get rid of alcohol. They were never able to get rid of drugs. They're definitely not going to get rid of e-cigarettes, and that's the bottom line. Will they make it harder to get e-cigarettes? Absolutely. And I think you would see the exact same thing happen with Bitcoin. By the way, I've seen this happen already in the cigar industry. Many of you know that I'm a cigar smoker. So a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, the FDA took over cigars, and they made the exact same claim to cigars that they did to e-cigarettes. And I thought it was amazing because the vaping community was basically, ironically, supporting the e-cigarette thing. The vaping community was coming against cigars, and I thought, how stupid of you if you like to vape, if you have a freedom like vaping, to come against the cigar industry because you're next. The only reason vaping was so free is because it was so new. But now kids won't be able to get e-cigarettes. You see plenty of high school kids smoking e-cigarettes. You see plenty of high school kids doing drugs too. That's bullshit. Oh my God, I can't stand it. You are a living moron if you think regulation is going to stop it. I can't handle it right now. This is absolutely retarded. if you want to, the government has no business stopping you from doing something that you're free to do on your own by your own freaking adult chooser. I mean, you choose to freaking smoke cigarettes, But I mean, freaking vaping. I mean, and it's always blown my mind because vaping. There's, to my knowledge, there's less secondhand effects of any kind with vaping. It kind of evaporates very quickly. Um, Yet it will stop it. It show. Wait a minute, Kariga. It will stop it. It's a shop right by my apartment where kids are buying vape juice. But you think kids aren't buying cigarettes? You think kids aren't buying? And by the way, that's just like in cigars. They were like, oh, we're going to ban flavored cigars. FDA took over. They were going to ban flavored cigars because they said that flavored cigars target kids. First of all, outside of the green apple Philly blunts, in a long filler premium cigar, a handmade premium cigar, the flavors were not like Tutti Frutti, for example. That was not ever a common flavor or seller of any kind. So it was kind of nuts to even ban cigar flavors, saying it targeted kids. I mean, it was absolutely laughable. The entire industry found it laughable. But it's all about regulations. You gotta kind of follow the money on this stuff. So it's the same thing with Bitcoin. You follow the money. That is, I mean, 100%. Bitcoin will eventually get banned with the U.S. I fully believe 100% at some point it gets banned. Now, the problem is, I saw Ivan on Tech lately has been putting out some pretty good stuff. There's a few things I have an issue with Ivan because I'm like, Ivan, that's not accurate, dude. And he seems like he's dead serious, but every now and again he's just off. But lately he's been talking about some really good stuff. He's been talking about how the economy and what's it's doing, what the American government's probably going to do to the economy, how that's ultimately good for Bitcoin. And he said the problem right now is in America, and he's dead right about this. Right now in America, the issue is that as American citizens, we haven't seen. I said right now in America, and I'm right here in Mexico. But if our currency started to inflate rapidly or start to hyperinflate, and I don't mean full on hyperinflation, but headed to that, currency has been so stable for so long. Most people literally are under illusion that there's absolutely nothing that could ever happen. It could never go wrong. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, universal basic income is a good example of this. So many people are talking about universal basic income. And I'm about to step on some crypto toes right now. The problem with hey, welcome to Clown World. I just saw your comment. I agree with that 100%. The government needs to get out of our lives. But the problem with universal basic income, even when you see some of the wealthy people talking about it, at first I was like, why in the world would someone who tends to be a capitalist be pro universal basic income? Then I realized, duh, it makes total sense. When you own a large majority of the assets, whether it's the businesses that consumers spend money on, whether you're Richard Branson, who's been a proponent, I've heard him say positive things about universal basic income. Some of the Silicon Valley guys are proponents for universal basic income. You have to understand how money flows. Money always flows from dumb to smart. I mean, that's offensive to some people. That's tend to be how it flows. The people who can manage money the best and put their money to work for them, buy assets, buy real estate, start businesses, those are the people who get money from other consumers. So what universal basic income does is it gives a flat amount of money. Say it's $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. The consumer wants it. They want to spend it. That's why they want it. Let's face it. That's the number one reason that most consumers want it. They want to spend it. What are they going to spend it on? They're going to spend it to pay their rent. They're going to spend it to pay their mortgage. They're going to spend it to buy food. They're going to spend it to basically spend it and give it over to all the wealthiest people in the world who owns these assets. One thing Ivan on Tech said, he said crypto is mainstream. Crypto is mainstream. How do you say that? Crypto is mainstream income, and fiat is Wall Street income, and something along those lines. And that was dead. I mean, he was dead on right then and there. So where do we go from here? I think that at this very moment, what's going to probably happen is government will ban Bitcoin. Now, I don't think that government's actually going to wait till it hits 100,000 Bitcoin because the value will be high. I think they'll probably ban it, or they'll restrict it. They'll restrict it in some way. They may not ban it. Outright because of some strong financial interest. If they don't act to, there's going to be a lot of financial propping Bitcoin up. It's going to be a large that has for politics. What may end up happening is it will get restricted so that it does be used as a currency. Now, with that being said, how will they restrict it? Internet's better down here or what? But say that the government can't stop Bitcoin. Most people are currently in crypto for the people are currently in Bitcoin for the pump. Most people are in Bitcoin right now because they want to make money on it because the last bull run, you know, got everybody all excited. So with that being said, once it becomes difficult to buy Bitcoin and to sell Bitcoin, that's going to be a negative for the price of crypto. And you're going to see the price absolutely tank. And I think it's going to stay tanked for a while until we probably end up seeing fundamentals. And what I mean by fundamentals is we start seeing things happen in the US market or the European market that cause people to start to lose faith in their own government-backed, central bank-backed fiat currencies. And when that starts to happen, I believe that's when people will start to rebel and they'll start buying crypto no matter how challenging it is. At the very least, they'll buy it for a hedge, potentially. And we may potentially see big money because big businesses, large financial institutions, they see the writing on the wall when it comes to things like fiat and inflation a little bit faster than Main Street does. Wall Street sees it before Main Street. And so we may see the market price start to go up even before Main Streeters start trying to find ways to buy Bitcoin. And we're talking about when we get to a point in time when the when our central fiat financial system is getting weak. I don't think it's going to outright collapse. I think it will struggle for a while. It'll linger for a while. That's what I'm thinking. So, if you're still here, by the way, thank you for being here. Hit that thumbs up. How are they buying it without... Let me see this. Hang on. Human from Earth. Sorry, Human from Earth. I can't see. How are they buying it without an ID? How's who buying it without an ID? This guy. Not a lot of kids smoke cigs. Okay. It's not vaping that's causing the... It's not vaping that's causing the illness. It's the black market THC cartridges. Okay. Bands work. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Eating bad food kills. Yeah, that's true. Way more kids smoke vape, even compared to blunts. You're not going to stop it though. They won't because they make too much money. I'm not certain what that was about. How are kids getting it without ID? Good question, Human from Earth. The Rook says they don't check ID. Trump wants full vape ban, nicotine included. See, they failed to mention people only died from black market THC products. That's correct, Human from Earth. That's always the case. Let's make the narrative fit. James of the Water Cooler says, correct, sounds like one of those people that want to ban guns too. For sure. Craig knows people who Craig wants some central authority. Craig, however he says his name, he wants some central authority to determine what you can and can't do. That's the problem. 600,000 people a year die from smoking. 6 people die from vaping. Let's ban vaping. Human from Earth, I'm not a fan of banning smoking either, but that's my point exactly. Vaping is competition for the old heads. True. Here's what's interesting about vaping. They're saying that I've always thought the tobacco monopoly, so to speak. Most people don't know this. Like when the states sued tobacco companies, one of the things that happened in a lot of states is that the tobacco companies, we're talking about 10 years ago when all the lawsuits from the states were suing the tobacco companies. A lot of times what happens is they ended up giving a larger percentage of future sales to the states. When tobacco companies give larger percentage of future sales to the states, as in higher tax revenue, all that does is forces the states to cement, protect, and keep the tobacco industry. And the tobacco industry knew this. It was brilliant. We're talking about like the Philip Morrises and stuff. And I mean, that was a brilliant move on their part. They fully understood it. So now with the vapes, what they're saying is let's ban vapes. Now mind you, I'm not pro-vape as far as I don't vape. I never have vaped. But it's just another freedom that's getting encroached upon for no real solid evidence-based reason. So when they're banning the vapes, they're saying, hey, you got to ban the flavors unless they're tobacco flavored. And then they're saying, but the fear is, if that's the case, then people are just going to go back and start smoking combustible cigarettes. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's the whole plan, I believe. I mean, I fully believe that's the plan. Let's see what you guys are saying. Most of the carts people smoke are coming from China. Okay. Same reason the timber industry banned hemp. That's what the Rook said. Yeah, that's totally true. Okay, Craig, we don't need Bitcoin to have crypto anyway. Bitcoin was created by a small group of greedy people who inflated the price and are selling it to dummies. Craig, you're an idiot. Go somewhere else. They should have given Bitcoin away. That still creates a value. And there's a mining cost. How are you going to give it away? There's a mining cost. Because anyone can create a cryptocurrency. What makes Bitcoin special? You need to go look at the technology. If you understand how many of the top cryptocurrencies are based off the Bitcoin blockchain, that alone, cements the fact that Bitcoin may not always be the primary cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin's not going anywhere for a long time. What's up, Steamy Coins? It's good to have you, brother. I just went off on a rant about the government talking about banning Bitcoin and banning vaping, the whole 9 yards. It's absolute nonsense, the government bans out there. But Steamy's here. Let's talk about this. Since Steamy showed up, I gotta talk about this for just a minute. Some of you know that I started playing Rocket games. I recently noticed something very interesting about Rocket games. A few things. Let me just give you a quick rundown. On Rocket games real quick. I like when I hear libertarian talk. They always sound like they are all independent, but most that I meet have bosses. Craig, I don't even understand what you mean by that. I'm smoking on vape juice. James is smoking on vape juice. That's awesome. Just rebellious children. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, freedom's a bad thing. Freedom's horrible. You should have less of it. Move to Venezuela. That's just stupid. Anyway, so let's talk about Rocket Games for a minute. So Rocket Games, I noticed something very fascinating. First of all, I'm not so certain that Rocket Games is full-on legit. There definitely is some bot traffic over there, and I don't understand that. But I don't have any proof that it's not. Divs have been pretty consistent. So it's from that perspective, the div pool's been pretty consistent. It might have even ticked up a little bit. I don't know where it's going to end up at today. But I noticed something. First of all, their jackpot over there is insane. And I think there's going to be some FOMO potentially happening with their jackpot. The jackpot is very hard to hit. Like on on the Rocket games, for example, you have to hit 7, 7, 7, 7, 4 sevens. That in and of itself is going to be difficult to do. And then that transaction ID or the bet ID or the hash ID or whatever it is has to end in a 7 as well. So the odds of that happening are going to be enormous. I can see that. I can fully see that jackpot hitting 1 million Tron or more. Dare I say like 10 million Tron. And what I see is as that jackpot grows, I'm going to keep an eye on that jackpot, even though I'm not currently playing it right now. I'm going to keep an eye on that jackpot because I do think that it may end up getting out of hand. And I think people may go over there just to jackpot hunt because at some point it's going to be worth it just to frickin' min bet less than 97% on the Rocket dice or whatever, and just min bet it and wait and try to jackpot hunt 1 million Tron or more. Craig, you're in an airport that's government control. If it were private, you likely couldn't even be there. Okay, that's fine. What is your point? Craig, this doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm libertarian. I'm definitely libertarian leaning, but I am not anarchist. I definitely think you need to have a government. And I definitely think if the government should help protect people, but it shouldn't take away or stop individual liberties. I want us to be, I'm not hurting you, then I don't want the government to stop doing it. BitConnect. I don't even understand what that's talking about. Okay. All right. Paul, how's it going, man? Just by. Welcome. It is kind of crazy to think here in Mexico, you can do whatever you want. There's no Bitcoin regulations. Yet I'm literally flying back to the land of the free, and they're trying to create more and more regulations on Bitcoin. Now, you put that into perspective for a minute. That's kind of crazy. All right. As said, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to be out of here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Thank you for stopping by, listening. But really and truly, just be aware of what's going on around. It's important to know what's happening and why it's happening. When I saw that news article today, it's the first time that I've actually seen a news article where there was a source, claiming that there was a source that said the government had contemplated banning Bitcoin at a certain point. I think a lot of us knew that it was happening, but just the fact that it actually made a news headline, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And what Tom Lee said about the vaping is absolutely correct. How the government, with an executive order, he said they can basically destroy an industry. I don't think prohibition has ever actually worked, ever. You just said money moves from dumb to smart. That's right. Think about why gambling is regulated, because some people can't control themselves and they hurt themselves and their family. That's why you think gambling is regulated. I actually disagree with you. I think the reason gambling exists is because of the powerful financial interests that control it. I mean, if it was really about a moral thing, gambling wouldn't exist at all, right? If it was really truly about a moral thing, let's face it, anyone who gambles, the person sitting at the table or the slot machine, whether it's you or me, we are the losers. It only 100% someone else. 100. So I mean, gambling exists, regulations exist, I think, to protect the industry. All you have to do is look at online gambling. Online gambling can't get a foothold in the U.S. in any major way. Why? Because the current old heads of the brick and mortar casinos are protecting the heck out of it right now. They're the ones funding, lobbying. I mean, what is his name? Is Sheldon Adelson? I can't even say his name right now. You know, the white dude that backs a lot of the Republicans. He said that he would spend his last dollar to prevent online gambling from coming to the U.S. Bitcoin won't care about stupid U.S. laws. Say my name. I think that's correct. I think that's correct in the extreme long term. In the extreme long term. Craig is in a fantasy world. I appreciate you stopping by, though. There's nothing wrong with gambling in concept. There is something wrong with gambling in concept. Technically, everyone who sits down, it's 100% loss factor long term for the person who's sitting down. If you're going to be anti-gambling, if your argument is that regulation is about protection, then no one should be allowed to gamble. All gamblers are loser over the long run. If the argument is about protection, listen. When you ask a central authority to provide protections for you, you're always going to give up some level of freedom. Security and freedom don't coexist at the exact same pace. Freedom absolutely comes with responsibility, and that's the number one reason why Bitcoin, the masses won't like Bitcoin. It's because if your Bitcoin gets hacked, it's your own stupid fault for not being responsible for your own security. 100%. If you lose your private keys or whatever, it comes down to personal responsibility. Personal responsibility is a thing that is missing in society, and it may have always missed in most major societies. People don't want to be responsible. They'd rather not be free. James at the water cooler, you're exactly right. 100%. People do not want to be responsible. And that's going to be the number one biggest issue for mainstream mass adoption, is it's going to have to get to the place that people don't trust their government, they don't trust their banks, and just like Venezuela doesn't, just like there's other small countries in the world currently that doesn't. So some of the post-Soviet countries struggle with their banking and their financial systems. So I think Belarus is one of them that struggles a little bit. Those countries already, the population tends to be pro-Bitcoin because they don't trust their major. They don't trust the major. They don't trust their banking systems to protect them, or the governments to protect their financial wealth, essentially. And we're going to have to get to that place where people say, you know what, I'm willing to take the risk of my own financial security because I don't think anyone else can keep me secure. That's where we're going to have to be, because right now, people will be like, oh, I got scammed. I want the government to protect me. I want to, I mean, that's the single biggest reason why crypto will not go mainstream, because mainstream people don't want to be responsible for keeping their own crypto safe. That's the bottom line. All right. Show that to the guy who made the atomic bomb. Okay. Whatever you mean by that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been fun, but I got to get out of here. Got to get ready to catch a flight. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. And Craig, thanks for the debate. It was fun to actually go back and forth. You got me wound up a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. And I appreciate everyone's opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but I appreciate them. We need to have dissenting opinion. We need to actually have conversation. I think that's one of the things that's wrong in society, is we just don't have conversation. You're allowing Bitcoin to regulate your finances. We'll just leave that right there. Take care, everyone.